Dun, 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 dun. Hey, getting ready to start it up. All right, I hear that. Perfect. All right. So, hopefully, people can hear me this time. And looking forward to hopefully getting this show on the road here and not having all these mistakes happen here. So, let's get this going. Um, Welcome into the Hunter Houston ESG podcast or the Hunter Houston podcast. I am your host, as always, T to the C to the D, or TDC, Hunter Houston himself, or whatever you want to call it. I am happy to be here. I'm happy to be talking to you guys. Let's try this one more time to make sure I'm being heard. So forgive me if I am just doing a test here. And if you hear something kicking off in the background that sounds exactly the same, that is me just trying to make sure I'm doing everything correctly, since I've had a technical difficulties the last couple of times I've tried to do a show. So I don't want to be that guy. Continue. Okay, all right. The voice is perfect. I can be heard, and that is awesome and super cool. So, welcome into the show, and I am very happy that I get to be here to say what a man has to say about bullcrap, and of course about things that are going on in general in the world. So, thank you guys so much for checking out the show in general. Let me go ahead and pop this up for all chats here so I can see everything if anybody interested in chatting. Now, before we get started talking about gaming, shout out to the PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast. Shout out to Will Schultz, my man Sean Powers. Ladies, he is still single and he is looking to mingle, and he would like to find a lady friend or maybe a male friend. I don't know. Whatever floats his boat. Hopefully, somebody here in our chat or his chat or whatever can help him find some companionship, so he doesn't spend all time just playing his awesome guitar and playing some cool riffs, which are super cool in general. And shout out to James himself, and shout out to the Radical One Reggie for giving a shout out to the PlayStation Dead Ain't podcast on Metal Jesus's podcast, video game podcast, and that's like a huge deal to get something from him. Now, let's get started with the main. Well, it's not really the main story, but just a side story, because I like to do side steps before we talk about Xbox or other things. So let me just go over here real quick, ladies and gentlemen, and bring this up here because I'm kind of a goof nut. No, let's go to. Oh, there we go. I believe that is the correct one. Let's go right here, and it should be. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, it is. Kanye West, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know, Kanye West was in court yesterday, Friday the 13th. Yep, old Kanye was out supporting his buddy, doing his thing. Sorry for just a second. So old Kanye was out doing his thing last night, being his normal self, being in a courtroom. Now, you would say, what does this have to do with a gaming show? What does this have to do with anything in general? Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This has to do with just a lot, not just a gaming show or stuff in general. It has to do with Kanye being Kanye West, which is kind of difficult sometimes for him himself, but it has lots to do with why did he show up? Remember, he's done numerous interviews of why he doesn't like P. Diddy, why P. Diddy is controlled, what what makes things bad for him as an artist, why he hates certain people with tiny hats and so forth and so on. Though he's apologized allegedly to the people with the tiny hats numerous times. I don't know how many times you can apologize. We just say, "Yo, I'm done. I don't care one way or another." But I guess money's money, and you want to see your kids, because I'm assuming that's what the song HH was about. But no, for him to show up in the courtroom, did he cause anybody to change their minds that were part of the jury? Did he cause anybody to basically think differently, or what? It's just basically just be a publicity hog saying, "Yeah, I know you're going through court, my homie, and this and that, but I'm gonna show up here." And apparently, he did touch up Sean Diddy Combs' son. He did talk to Sean P. Diddy Combs' son, or P. Diddy, or Sean Combs, or whoever. And he was there for an hour, and then he rolled out. So did Kanye West basically, go there to snitch on him? Did Kanye West go there? They said he was there to support him. And he's like, "Hey, man, I have this type of information. What should I do with it? Because they're trying to ruin me." And then basically, will he be the new quote unquote Diddy if everything goes according to plan? It's like, okay, you have to sacrifice this in order to do this. You have to give up this to do that. We know how satanic and evil the music business is most of the time. So, we'll put it this way: if Kanye starts seeing his children on a normal basis and has a healthy relationship with them in some form of way, I think we know what type of Faustian deal he made. For those who are not familiar with the Faustian deal, that is the deal that you make with the devil. That that you give up your X, Y, and Z in order to get riches, fame, or whatever. Usually it's not it's usually not as people think that Faustian deal is. It's like, hey, you give up your unborn son and we'll allow you to eat food or we'll allow you to have a certain amount of wealth or something like that. It's not going to be all your dreams are going to come true on this Faustian deal. You may just live what would be considered a normal life, or not a life as a peasant per se, or a plebe. Now, moving on from old Kanye West to what everybody really cares about at the end of the day, that would be the Xbox game show. And I will get to my little headline over with the Xbox handheld being Nintendo killer. That was for the end of the show. And so let's go ahead and go over to that and take a look at what games Xbox are going to be releasing here and why are they going to be releasing these games. As you can see here, my friends, this right here is a preview of the games that they're releasing. Now, Outer World 2, if you played Outer World 1, super awesome, super cool. Love that game. Call of Duty Black Ops, it's not really a showcase of games per se because that's going to be out on every system. Just because Activision is owned by Microsoft doesn't mean like, oh, it's a third party release. No, dude. Work on other Activision titles. You already own Tony Hawk, which is an Activision title, 3 and 4. Work on something like, again, I've said this numerous times to different people. Work on 10 shoe stuff Assassins. Work on bringing back, because oh my goodness. Because PlayStation has Infamous 1 and 2 and Infamous Second Son and the Infamous Night Terror thing or whatever, you should just go with what is the name of that game? It's going to escape me. But there's a open world game from Activision that's really good. You can basically use that world and that'll be super awesome. It had like Alex Mercer in the first one. I'm going to look up Alex Mercer. Video game where Alex Mercer is the hero. Prototype. There we go. Prototype 1 and 2. So you had Alex Mercer in number 1, and then you had I can't think of the other guys from number 2, but it was an open world game. It was very similar to, but different powers, and you could assimilate people's bodies and pretend to be them. It's a little bit different, and but it had an open world, open mechanics, actually a bigger open world, to be honest with you. So I would love for Activision slash Microsoft, because Microsoft now owns Activision, to take these two games and make a whole new one and within that world, which I think would be super cool and super awesome. But it doesn't have to have like spikes or whatever. You can change what the ability is and the powers. Another game, Gears of War, which will be out on all systems. Very smart of them. Reloaded says it's Gears of War 1. So my Xbox brothers and sisters, and hopefully it comes to Switch too. I doubt it, but if it does, uh, you will have a chance, because a lot of people have never played Gears of War because they were not Xbox people. So now it's your chance. And if this hits and people love it, then they'll bring Gears of War 2, so forth and so on, remastered. And then everybody will get a chance to experience Gears of War for the very first time. And I think that will be awesome and cool. Indiana Jones, the Great Circle, basically it's the Land of the Giants or something like that. Yeah, it's just add-on. I'm not sure. I'll watch the add-on first before I buy it. I am interested in buying Indiana Jones, but it goes down to a price that I like, and it is an amazing game. And if you have a PS5 and you have yet to play it, or if you have the Xbox and you're on Gamer Pass, you've yet to play it, you are screwing yourself. Um, Clockwork Revolution. Can we just be honest and just say, without saying it, this is BioShock Infinity, but in the one of the opposite worlds that he traveled to. Spoiler alert: the game's like only 10 years old, but you know, it's basically, I think the art style is very steampunk, but everything to me feels like Bioshock Infinity on steroids, or just Bioshock Infinity of if you stayed in the world. High on Life 2 was a very fun kind of short shooter, first person with a lot of naughty jokes. I know nothing of The Keeper, so I can't talk about The Keeper. Grounded 2, I have a friend that works looking very forward to that. For those who are familiar with the A Plague's Tale, is this like a continuation of the story, or is this a whole new story of A Plague's Tale? Because I played 1 and 2 Plague's Tale, and they're both amazingly and super awesome. If you've never played those games, you can get them for cheap or just check them out. You will be well served. I mean, they're a little grotesque from time to time because it's Europe and whatnot, uh, in the 15th century, the 1500s, if I'm correct. But check it out. I think that's cool. Uh, Persona 4. What else can you say except remastered? Yay. Invincible versus the world. So I guess it's a 4-player kind of beat 'em up where you're all kind of versing each other within this world. And the video kind of looked ho hum. Final Fantasy 17 Complete Edition. That's all the DLC for Final Fantasy 17. That's the one that's like Game of Thrones, where it's like a hard, it's almost like a action melee game, and it feels like the fights take forever because they do. Strongly recommend if anybody buys it for the Xbox that hadn't already played on the PlayStation, set that bad boy for easy and try to enjoy the game and hopefully the fights go by quicker. Story's not bad at all, but still, it's one of those things like, dude, I don't want to spend an hour fighting a boss. And sometimes I felt like I spent almost like 35 to 40 minutes fighting a boss in a melee game. Okay. That might have been fun when I was a young kid and I had all the time in the world. And, you know, I didn't have a job to go to per se, but now, you're adult, you got bills, you only got, and children or whatever. You only get so much time to like do certain things. Final Fantasy 7 from the PS5 slash PS4 with all the DLC. Yes, about damn time. I don't know what took Square Enix so long. If you've been losing money or hemorrhaging money, you need to put everything out on every system rather than like, oh yeah, we'll do a time deal with you guys and hopefully we'll make our money back so we don't have to put it anywhere else. No, the time of you doing that, and because you have investors, unfortunately, that's kind of ruined art with video games. It's like investors or people who are just looking to get in on the money and not let artists be artists, which sucks. But I digress. Let's keep it moving. Sea of Thieves. I guess it's just Sea of Thieves, a better version or a remastered version or more of it. Beast Incarnate, we talked about that last week's show. You can check out the video from that where we went pretty hardcore into that. And again, it's from Game Freaks, which normally does Pokemon games. And for them to put out what I would consider like be a banger or very, very close to a Wu Chang Black Feathers, uh, looks unbelievably good. I cannot wait to see it. Hopefully, it's not boss fight after boss fight, which I feel what Wu Chang Black Feathers is. It's like, okay, I go to one big boss to another big boss to another big boss. Fallout 76, I'm assuming more DLC for that because why not? Let's just milk it because we've tried to fix it. And, I guess fixing a turd is still a turd, but whatever. I'm going to skip some of these other titles because I looked at them and I didn't care for them. Planet of Lana 2, Planet Lana 1 was pretty good. So I look forward to that going forward. And I want to really talk about if everybody looks at this list, if you're driving or if you're not driving and you're actually at home and you see this list right here, what's missing from this list, ladies and gentlemen? What is the one game that is missing from that list that says, oh no, there's a game missing from that list? Can I tell you what game's missing from that list, ladies and gentlemen? Can I let you know what game's missing from that list? Because I know what game's missing from that list. That would be dum ba dum or drum roll please, Fable. Now you would ask, Fable was supposed to come out this year allegedly, right? Let's look it up on my let's look it up on the old phone here. When was Fable the new game supposed to come out? All right. So we got a list here. Fable 4 was estimated to release it was scheduled to release 2025, but it's been delayed to 2026. It was scheduled to release in February. No, the delay was announced in February. Now, why do you think that was pushed back for? Why do you think it was pushed on for? I can tell you why. Very simple. Because they might be trying to go another route where you could be a guy or a girl. They may not just be saying, "Oh, well, I can only be a guy." They may be saying, "You know what? Rather than being looking like one of the developers from the game, which the character did look like one of the developers from the game, and basically seeing how good that worked for all these other high end games that look like mid fours or fives. Sorry to be a D about it, but it's true. They basically said, you know what? Maybe we're going to go in a different way if this is supposed to be a AAA title, and maybe make you be able to make your own character rather than your character, because again, if you've already seen all these companies, Sony, uh, Activision, not Activision, I'm sorry, Ubisoft and other companies lose big boy money, not crap money, big boy money because they decided to oh well we're going to make our characters not attractive. No, everybody wants to play. Look, if you want to make your character ugly, you should be allowed to make your character ugly. But if you have the option, which they should have the option, especially if you're a AAA game, then make your character attractive. I don't see the girl from Grand Theft Auto being the new Grand Theft Auto being uglified. Now she was a little spunked up at first, but you notice if you look at the earlier videos versus what she looks like now, yeah, she looks a lot more on the pleasant side. So don't get it twisted and thinking, oh no, nobody wants to be. Yeah, uh, get smart. Don't lose money just because you want a virtual signal to clowns. Be smart enough to say, oh well, we're going to do what we should do, and that's just that simple. So I'm really looking forward to what they're going to show with Fable next time, and maybe they may have it where you could be a boy or a girl, which it should be that way. Shout out to BioWare and shout out to Mass Effect for having a female shepherd and having a male shepherd, which was super cool and super awesome all the time. But that's nor here or there. So again, Fable was missing, and I believe there was another game that was missing that they're pretty high on. But they did not show off anything else for Starfield, so I'm assuming their Starfield is kind of like, all right, we're not going to do anything this year for Starfield, or we're kind of done with Starfield because we've gotten everything we can out of Starfield. And no one showed off the Last Exile, which is from the original BioWare people who left to make their own studio. So I'm looking forward to that when we start seeing more of that. Now, moving on to our third and final story of the day or the night, whichever you want to say it, will be let's take a look here. Let's go over here. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't see that, that is the two different versions of the Xbox handheld. That is the ROG Ally uh, excuse me, Li. I said Ally. uh, X2, and then the ROG Ally, which is no X. In other words, you have basically an S series handheld and a regular handheld, or the X series. Now, the black one is going to have 200, excuse me, 24 gigabytes of RAM, which is super awesome and super cool. And the other one's just going to have 16 gigabytes of RAM with 512 of memory, whereas the bigger system, or I guess the deluxe system or the X system, is going to have 1 terabyte. Now, you would ask yourself, why would this be considered important? Why would anybody care about something like that? I'm going to tell you why someone would care about something like that. Because with the Nintendo's handheld, they don't give you hardly any memory. You're basically having to install games. Now, will Nintendo have access to Steam the way Xbox has access to Steam? If I had a magic 8 ball, I would say sources point to no. So, and they don't want to basically be having people have that kind of freedom in the first place. But Microsoft, I think, is going to be very smart, and they actually said they have a deal with Steam, so you'll be able to bring over your Steam account and play your handheld just about anywhere. So, is this good? Absolutely yes. Is it a Nintendo killer? In my mind, if I am looking for the best possible handheld, which I am, I think it's a Nintendo killer. I think Nintendo's handheld, or Switch 2, it's just, let's just be honest, it's the Switch Pro, and everybody knows it. It plays games. Everybody knows it's nothing special. And the thing is, it's had so many problems with the drift con, so forth and so on. And again, it's the whole Nintendo theory of trust me, bro, we're gonna fix it. Trust me, bro, it's going to be taken care of. And I'm sick and tired of these Nintendo fanboys. And I used to be a huge fanboy of Nintendo, and I used to be a super Xbox hater. But because of what they said, during Xbox One, where if you can't afford to be online 24/7, I guess you can't afford the system. But then you had other people become in charge and other people do a better job. And basically, they've been spending these last, hell, I think at least 7 or 8 years in exile trying to fix what they did wrong to the customers and how they wronged the customers. At least I like to think so, delusionally anyway. And so with Nintendo really doesn't care about their fan. Correction, you are nothing but cattle to them. They know that you will buy anything if they put their name to it. It could be two stick dudes fighting, and as long as you say one of them's Mario, one of them's Zelda or whoever, it's like you will buy it. You say, no, it's not stick people fighting. See, there's something more deep to it. See, there's a deep art and meaning to these two sticks fighting and these two stick characters just walking. What it proves is it's deconstructing video games. And it's just you're trying to find deeper meaning and then basically saying, watch this, they'll buy anything. And then, for the people who just say, oh, dude, you gotta trust the process, man. You gotta trust Nintendo. The whole trust me, bro, I'm gonna enjoy this kind of thing. No, there's no more giving people the benefit of the doubt with your money just because that's just weird. Okay. I mean, if you have that kind of money and you a big baller like that, yo, bet. I'm not a big baller like that. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have those kind of things going on per se. All right. If you can do that, brothers, y'all are way, way cooler and better than me. I can't do that. So I really think Xbox handhelds gonna deliver where others have failed numerous, numerous times. And trust me, I'm not normally a handheld guy. But today I am a handheld guy. And there's someone in my driveway. Turn off that here so I don't get bothered. But now let's finish this up and let's talk about the band of the week, or should I say the band of the show? And that's New Edition. Ronnie, excuse me, Bobby, Ronnie or Ralph, Johnny, Ronnie, well, I'm got it all out. It's the thing. Uh, Biven and Rick Bell, or Velvet DeBow, and you got the two solo artists. Now, what do you know about these guys? Man, they put out song after song that had been so good. I mean, I got married to Still in Love with You, and wearing all white, one of the suits. If I ever get rich and they're still around, I will hire these guys to come and just sing and to like be on stage with them and like have them sing a song I wrote for them and maybe it becomes the number one hit. Uh, but no, every song they have, man, is super awesome. They've all been very good on their own little things. Velvet DeVoe, the people made Poison, other things. The song I thought it was me. I thought it was me that made that girl that way. And then Ralph going out on his own, releasing Sensitive, and then Bobby Brown, Johnny Gill, two basically superstars, breakout artists. But check out their music. If you never listen to their music, man, you are missing out. These guys are awesome. These guys are cool. Can't say enough about them. Shout out to everyone who checks out the show. And if you can, please give a like, share, and a follow to the show. We really appreciate that. And then let us know if you can in the comments. Do you think Xbox new handheld is a Nintendo killer? Do you think it will be in the top 10 handhelds? Or do you think it's like, I don't know anything. I mean, I was wrong about Pokemon all those years ago. I was like, Pokemon's gonna suck. No one's gonna want to play that. Now everybody's like, I guess Nintendo was very smart. You get them while they're young, you hook them in, you get them with your propaganda. Bam, they're customers for life, man. But let us know. Leave us a comment, like I said. Leave us a like, share, and a follow, and we really appreciate it. Shout out.